Hey, Nirvana Mama here, and this is Hairbrush Poetry Jam. Today, I'm going to read for you a poem I wrote called A New Day Dawns. This poem is in Song of the Leviathan, my poetry book, which is available now. And I wrote this poem several years ago. This was my first attempt to tell my side of our love story to my husband. So, here it is. I hope you enjoy it. A New Day Dawns. I walked through timeless windows, gazing toward each passing life. They held so much old grief for me and such little delight. While searching down each alley, between each passing pane, I found a new direction along a guarded lane. The window cracked and jagged, a danger to crawl through. But deep across its landscape, the horizon I'm drawn to. It's not a painted sunset and not a starry night, but a thunderous concoction broken through by golden light. The fiery clouds held purpose I had yet to know, so I pushed myself with gritted teeth through that dark window. The storm soon overwhelmed me. I faltered in its flow, its untapped power, its wild dreams, the beauty of its glow. But I can breathe the lightning, I can drink the rain, and wind and sleet and shock and heat have nothing on my pain. Bring the thunder to me, blast it in my heart, so I will know the awesome blow destruction can impart. Storms won't last forever, their nature is to break, so I will stand within this field, accepting what I take. And when the downpour eases, when the clouds do break, I stand here still, with silent breath, ready for a second wake. My heart is ever stronger, my soul wild as can be. The blood rushing through my veins knows its destiny. The golden light grows brighter, the clouds soon disappear. With outstretched wings and open arms, I draw your old heart near. Envelop me in sadness, I drink it in like rain. Infuse me with your tortured soul, infect me with your pain. For I'm an ever steadfast, unending source of light, and I can trace your broken path throughout the darkest night. When the tangled brush subsides, I'll show you what I've found, where golden light conquers the sky and love is all around. My heart is yours forever. We are one and the same. In any life, on any day, you're in my window pane. The moon will someday crumble. The sun will fade and die. So I choose you, my golden light, to fill my spirit's sky. When the thunder rumbles and the quake of change is near, I pray you know this certain truth. A new day dawns, and I am here. Okay, so as I said, I wrote that for my husband several years ago. Uh, he had, we had been married maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, and things had been going really well. And we had two kids by that point. They were both very small. And one day he looked at me and he said, I'm just so afraid that this isn't going to last. And I'm so afraid that someday you're just going to leave. And he had at the time some pretty significant trust issues because of bad experiences that he'd had in previous relationships. So it wasn't something that I had done, but it wasn't entirely unfounded. It was just sort of some unresolved anxieties that he had, and really the only thing that could really address that was time. But I wanted to do something more than that, so I put the effort into writing that poem as a way to show him where I was and how I felt and reassure him that my love for him is pure. And it was a really early glimpse into the direction that our story is taking now, where we are really exploring a lot of that time period in our lives and also our love story in general and how things lined up. And so for that, it's time for combing through. Bits of books and blurbs and backstory bits. Combing through is all about writing and reading and my influences in my life and how things translate, both what I'm doing currently and what I'm learning about myself looking backwards. Today, I want to talk to you about the work that my husband and I are doing because this is very closely related to my poetry and also what I am spending a lot of my time focusing on as well. My husband has dissociative identity disorder, and before he was diagnosed, we had tried dating a few times. We had been sort of off and on. We had tried staying friends. Once he got his diagnosis, it was a total game changer. And we stayed very close friends through a lot of his early therapy so that I could get to know the alters and help him sort of discover things and learn how to communicate with them and all of, those sort of details. What we're doing now is, at this point, we have been married almost 16 years. And so we have a lot of distance from the early tumultuous times. And what we're doing now is we're telling our story. Partly because we have the advantage of perspective on it. And so it is definitely partly for us. The process of telling our story is definitely therapeutic for us. We're putting it out into the world because we're hoping that it will help other people who are going through similar things or related things. During those years, it was very rocky and confusing and painful for both of us. And we really could have benefited from hearing some stories of people who had gone through similar things. So what I haven't talked about very much, and what I'm going to talk about now, is how my poetry books are related to his autobiography. Because this summer he released the first volume of his autobiography. It's called Reality of the Unreal Mind, Volume 1. It's called Teardrop Road. And it talks about his upbringing, his childhood, his education, and finding out about his DID and how that affected his social life and his education before he knew about the disorder. How he doesn't get into the trauma that he suffered very much. It's mostly just about how it affected his life. And Teardrop Road came out in July, and the link is below. Now, Song of the Leviathan tells our love story from my point of view in poetry form. It does have some poems that take place before I met him. So it sets up some things about me that are relevant and, parts that fit into later poems in the book and things that happen in other poems. But my poetry books are very autobiographical, and a lot of them focus on love because I am a romantic and love has been a guiding force throughout my life. I've used it as a focal point, and I've used it as a way to try to understand humanity and myself. So that's Song of the Leviathan. It's our love story from my point of view. Our love story from his point of view is mostly what his volume 2 includes. It's called Normal Street. And Normal Street is currently in production. We have the cover. It's at the editor right now, and the release date is to be announced, but as soon as we can finish production on it, we're going to release it. And then my second book, The Opera of Peace, also tells our love story from a bit of a different angle. It's from a sort of behind the scenes angle where it involves a lot more of my point of view and more specifically my point of view in relation to struggles that I had with family dynamics and other relatives and things that were sort of affecting my side of it from things that I didn't want him to see because he was going through enough. He's going through enough pain during those times, and I didn't want him to see some of the things that I was trying to, I was trying to defend him a lot. There were a lot of people who struggled with understanding DID. There were a lot of people who struggled with sympathizing with him. And it's a story worth telling. So that is what the Opera of Peace includes. And so we have a beta reader who has been reading both of them, and she said it's so wonderful because, Jesse's books tell this really complete, involved story, and then when I read your books, it is also its own story, but if you read both of them, they fit together and you find out so much more. You get so much more of the story. So it's a beautiful project that we're both putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. Reality of the Unreal Mind, Volume 1, Teardrop Road, is out. Song of the Leviathan, which is Flowing in the Trenches, Book 1, that's available. Reality of the Unreal Mind, Volume 2, is Normal Street. That is a full exploration into our love story. And then Flowing in the Trenches, Book 2, is going to be the Opera of Peace. And that's coming out probably next summer. I do have the pre-order available now too. So that's kind of an overview of his autobiographical work and mine. The reason I wanted to show all of that to you is because that is the crossroads of the poem that I read to you today, A New Day Dawns. It's in Song of the Leviathan, and it's also in Normal Street. I was very honored that he chose to include it in Normal Street. So that is the piece in which those works meet. Okay, so there's only one thing left to do. I think like a scholar and spin like a baller, so hit the subscribe if you care what I holler, the bell and the like, and you'll show me some love. My jam is a poem. I don't ask for much because who needs a microphone? I have a hairbrush.